there's a truth few dare to address. It's not always single women who are the most dangerous. Sometimes it's the married women or single mothers you pass by every day who silently fantasize about you. What if I told you that by applying 3 simple but powerful behaviors, you could awaken in them a desire so intense that they'd start pursuing you? Not for a relationship, not for a simple conversation, but because you embody what their own man was never capable of being. Welcome to this video. If you apply these 3 principles, single mothers and even married women will pursue you. Why? Because it's not just about attracting women, but about becoming a man you can't ignore. A man women respect, desire, and can't forget. These 3 elements will transform your posture, your energy, and your power of attraction without you having to chase anyone. But be careful, only men capable of discipline and presence will truly embody these principles. So, are you ready to be one of those rare men who no longer need to please because they shine? Make yourself comfortable, take notes, and stay until the end, because the last revelation I'm going to share with you is one that even most seduction coaches don't dare explain. Why is the rare man more attractive than the one who makes an effort? Today more than ever, men are seeking to seduce. They multiply their strategies: excessive compliments, gifts, emotional overinvestment, constant availability. They give everything immediately, and yet they often end up as friends, fleeting distractions, or worse yet, invisible. Why? Because rarity creates value. In a world where men are available on demand on Instagram, Tinder, on the street, in DMs, the one who isn't becomes fascinating. He who doesn't try to please, who remains in control of himself, focused on his mission, becomes a mystery to be unraveled, a challenge to be met. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. The less you try to seduce, the more attractive you become. This phenomenon is even more powerful when it comes to single mothers or married women. Why? Because they have experience. They know when a man is playing a role. They detect self-serving behaviors. They've seen dozens of them. But when they come across a rare man who doesn't do anything to impress them, who doesn't overact, who doesn't beg for their attention, then they are intrigued. And this intrigue, if you know how to nurture it, transforms into active desire. They seek you out, they want to understand, they want to have you. 1. Never seek female approval. The attitude that changes everything. The first mistake 90% of men make is trying to please. It's subtle sometimes. They laugh a little too loudly at his jokes, respond immediately to his messages, adapt their opinions to his. They want to appear kind, understanding, respectful. But in reality, it's not respect. It's disguised submission. When a woman senses that you're changing your behavior to gain her validation, she instinctively loses interest. It's not a conscious choice, it's biological. The rare man, on the other hand, isn't into validation. He says what he thinks, even if it's unpopular. He's not afraid of confrontation. He doesn't need a woman to agree with him to feel legitimate. And that's precisely what makes him magnetic. He doesn't bend, he asserts himself without forcing. This type of man sends a signal in a woman's mind: if he's not trying to please me, he has better things to do, he's valuable, he has a choice. And women want what other women want. They're programmed for it. 2. Strategic silence. The art of not always responding. Another typical behavior of the rare man is that he feels no need to be always present. He doesn't respond immediately to messages. He's not glued to his phone. He doesn't chase conversations. He doesn't follow up with a woman who ghosts him. Why? Because his time is valuable. He has a life, goals, and a direction. When you act like this, you send a powerful signal: I'm not here to fill a void. I'm here because I choose to be here. Believe me, this kind of attitude makes all women react, especially those who are used to being chased after. A single mother, often oversolicited, will suddenly be surprised by your absence. She will ask herself, why isn't he responding? Does he like me? Does he find me ordinary? And this little voice in her head will grow until she calls you again. Likewise, a married woman, trapped in a boring daily routine, will perceive your silence as an enigma. The rarer you are, the more she seeks your presence. But be careful, this silence must be strategic, not passive. You're not running away from the relationship, you're not ignoring it. You're timing your presence so that it carries weight. 3. Prioritize yourself radically. Your world comes before theirs. One of the greatest signs of power in a man is his ability to prioritize himself without guilt. Men who truly appeal are those who have a direction, a mission, a personal goal greater than seduction. They don't sacrifice their workout for a date. They don't change their plans for a last-minute invitation. They don't put themselves on hold for a woman, ever. And guess what? Women love that. Even if they complain, even if they experiment, they deeply love a man who is centered, stable, and unflappable. Why? Because he embodies emotional security. A man who doesn't get sidetracked, who stays focused, deeply reassures a woman even unconsciously. A single mother, often exhausted by unstable men, will find in you a refuge, a solidity she's been searching for without saying so. A married woman, on the other hand, will see you as the living alternative to the routine she endures. A man who doesn't bend to her whims quickly becomes the object of her fascination. But be careful, this centering shouldn't be cold or selfish. It must be experienced with elegance. You're not crushing the other person, you're simply showing that your world already exists without her. And if she wants to be a part of it, it's up to her to align herself. Another trap men often fall into is showing too much interest too soon. They become possessive as soon as a woman talks about another man. They want to make sure she belongs to them. They ask intrusive questions, monitor her social networks, and become burdensome. But the rare man remains impassive. If she mentions another man, he smiles. If he sees her attracting attention, he doesn't react. Because he knows that value can't be begged. The more you show that you're not afraid of competition, the more psychologically dominant you become. And this quiet dominance, this lack of fear, is perceived by women as a sign of very high masculine value. They say to themselves, "He's not afraid of losing me, so I'm the one who must be afraid of losing him." When you go out, whether with friends, family, or at a party, your public behavior says everything about you. Men who truly appeal are calm, controlled, and discreet. They don't try to make everyone laugh. They don't monopolize attention. They don't flaunt their lives. And that's where the magic happens. Women observe, they analyze. They see that you're not seeking validation from the group. They see that you don't need to shine to exist. And they begin to wonder, why is he so sure of himself? Why does he speak little, but every sentence counts? A man who knows how to keep quiet is often a man who knows a lot. And this social mastery is formidable because it immediately sets you apart. You become that guy in the corner that no one understands but everyone notices. Rarity isn't a game strategy, it's an inner posture. It's the certainty you have of your own worth, your direction, your time. And when you live like this, without forcing, without manipulating, you become an inevitable man. Single mothers looking for a rock, married women dreaming of escape, they will all end up noticing you. Because you don't chase them. Because you're the only one who seeks nothing and gets everything. So, tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed that by showing less interest, some women become more insistent? Have you ever experienced this? Did it surprise you? Share your experience below. I want to read your story. Why do women gravitate toward men who know how to manage their emotions? Do you want to know what separates a man who is used from a man who is pursued? It's not looks, money, or even confidence. It's something finer, more subtle, emotional intelligence. A man can be muscular, well-dressed, charismatic, but if he loses his composure at the slightest conflict, if he explodes when frustrated, if he becomes emotional when a woman disappoints him, then he is emotionally weak. And a woman will never pursue an emotionally weak man. Conversely, a man who knows how to control his reactions, understand others, and observe instead of reacting, that man becomes fascinating. He becomes an emotional enigma, and this type of man becomes addictive, especially for women who have been in unstable relationships. Do you want to know what an emotionally intelligent man never does? He doesn't justify himself. Why? Because justifying yourself means putting yourself on the defensive. When a woman criticizes you for something, provokes you, or tries to make you react, you have only one thing to do: remain impassive. The more you explain, the more you lose. The more you try to convince, the more guilty you appear. A solid man doesn't argue over details. He says little, but every word is a wall. The world is full of impulsive men, men who raise their voices, who insult, who explode at the slightest disagreement. And all women know that a man who can't control himself will end up hurting them. That's why a man who remains calm in all situations immediately becomes superior. A woman tests you, she raises her voice, she provokes, she tries to get you out of your zone. You look at her, smile slightly, and respond calmly. You show that you are the rock in the midst of the storm. And believe me, in the female subconscious, this attitude triggers a deep attachment. Emotional intelligence isn't just about not exploding. It's also about knowing how to observe, interpret, and anticipate. Women, especially mature ones, don't always say what they want. They send signals, looks, silences, innuendos. An ordinary man misses the point. He takes everything literally. But if you want her to pursue you, you have to become an invisible reader of their emotions. The subtle line. Many men think that being a real man means hiding everything, never talking about your emotions, never admitting your doubts, never showing any flaws. But that's a mistake. An emotionally intelligent man knows how to show what he chooses to show. He's not playing a role, he's not a robot, but he controls the narrative. He might say, I had a difficult time but I learned a lot. I don't show everything but I'm deeper than what I display. A single mother is often emotionally exhausted. She has to manage everything: children, work, responsibilities, toxic exes, judgments. She carries a world on her shoulders. If you arrive without adding to her burden, but rather by becoming a space of calm, lucidity, and silent comfort, you become irreplaceable. The same goes for an unhappy married woman. She's in a relationship where her emotions are ignored, mocked, or mistreated. If you arrive with your calm gaze, your upright posture, your genuine listening without judgment, without need, without pressure, then you become the emotional refuge she's never had. And believe me, you don't run away from a refuge. You return to it again and again. Not to be her emotion, but her sanctuary. Do you want to become the man she's been chasing? So don't be an emotional tornado. Be the beacon in its storm. When you don't react, you win. When you observe, you control. When you understand, you lead. And when you choose to say nothing, you become an obsession. Emotional intelligence is the new masculine strength, and women know it. They feel it. And when they taste it, they never let you go. The aura that women sense without understanding. You may have already noticed a strange thing. In some cases, you're not particularly talkative, you don't even try to seduce, but women look at you differently. They approach, they smile for no reason, and sometimes they become tense with you without a single explicit word. It's not a coincidence. It's not luck. It's your presence, your masculine posture, your channeled sexual energy. It all starts with the body. Even before you open your mouth, your body language speaks volumes. A man who is aligned, solid, relaxed, and without arrogance commands respect. And this respect attracts. So, what does a man pursued by women do? He has an open, grounded, and calm posture. Open because he has nothing to hide. Grounded because he stands straight, anchored to his foundations, like a tree impossible to topple. Calm because he doesn't move unnecessarily. He doesn't gesticulate, he has nothing to prove. Your pace, your tempo, your manner of moving send constant signals. A man who is rushed, stressed, nervous, who moves quickly, who turns his head everywhere, who seems to be looking for something, is not a man in control. Conversely, a man who moves slowly, mindfully, who looks around without ever shifting his gaze, is that of a man who is already complete. You're not chasing something. You are what others are looking for. Many men lose all their masculine power because they don't control their sexual energy. They are lacking, they are looking to fill a void. They look at women as objects, they have uncontrolled urges and women sense it. But a man who has learned is to hold back one's sexual energy, to sublimate it, to direct it, becomes radiant. It's a fundamental principle in martial arts, masculine spirituality, and even modern psychology. Restraint creates power. Your gaze can be your greatest weakness or your weapon of mass seduction. A shifty, nervous, scattered gaze is a gaze of survival. But a steady, deep gaze becomes a trap for the soul. When you look a woman in the eyes without expecting anything, without trying to seduce her, without agitation, you send a message: I see right through you, I am at peace with myself, and I don't need you. Do you want to know one of the secret fantasies of married women? It's not necessarily wild sex, it's restrained desire. They dream of a man who looks at them intensely but doesn't give in. A man who could, but chooses not to cross the line. Why? Because this unfulfilled tension is stronger than 1,000 words. The tension in the air, the unmade gesture, the unspoken word, the thrill without contact. All this creates an invisible but burning erotic space. And then you become the man she imagines at night, even if she's sleeping with someone else. To maintain this tension, it's crucial not to give in to temptation. Stay in control, maintain attention, become her controlled fantasy. Create the absence that creates the lack. Do you want her to chase you? Don't be too present. Women desire what they can't fully possess. Be available but partially. Be present but elusive. Be connected but independent. It's an absence in lack that deep desire is created. A man who isn't always there, who has his own life, his own plans, his own passions, his own silences, becomes obsessive. Because she can't control you, she can't categorize you, she can't possess you. And that drives her crazy. Do you want to know why some women leave their man for another? It's not because he's better looking or richer, but because he has a presence, an energy, a controlled fire. Your posture, your gaze, your calmness, your slowness, your restrained sexual power, all of this forms the aura of a magnetic man. And this aura is what single mothers desire as a sanctuary. Married women think of it as an escape. You don't need to speak loudly, you don't need to seduce. You just need to be. And in your being they will find what they've never known. So, tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed that the more you control your sexual energy, the more women become attracted to you? Have you ever been in a room where, without speaking, you felt your presence attracting female attention? Share your experience in the comments. Tell me what it feels like to harness your inner fire. The rare man is the one who embodies, not the one who begs. You've just learned something 99% of men ignore or refuse to accept. Women don't pursue men who pursue them. They pursue those who embody something that has become almost impossible to find today, the harnessed masculine presence. These three elements, emotional independence, mastery of your surroundings and control of your masculine energy, are not mere seduction tricks. They are the foundations of a sovereign man, a man who doesn't let his impulses rule him, a man who knows his worth without trying to convince. A man who can sit silently in a crowded room and attract more than 1,000 words. And it's precisely this complete silence that women feel, a magnetic calm, a density, a rare intensity. Because he's not there to please, he's there to live by his principles. Women know this subconsciously. They sense that you don't need them, and that's precisely what attracts them. You're not cold, you're not closed off. You're simply whole without her. In a world where everyone is begging for attention, where men desperately seek female validation, the one who asks for nothing becomes everything. You don't need to chase women. Be the man they must earn you. Now is where it all begins. You can close this video and forget what you just heard, or you can get up today with a mission, to become the man you were meant to be. Not for women, not for what others think, but for yourself, for your integrity, for your honor. Because when you embody this version of yourself, women will come. Not just the single ones, not just those looking for a thrill, but those who couldn't stand mediocrity any longer until they met you. And you, tell me in the comments. Of the 3 pillars you discovered today, which one have you already started working on? Which one do you find the most challenging to embody on a daily basis? And above all, are you ready to make the choice to become that rare man that others pursue instead of you pursuing yourself? Tell me in the comments. I read each of your messages, and together, we will continue to awaken the strength that the world tries to put to sleep in men.